And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey folks, today we're taking a look at Stinky Business. This is about recycling and the goods that recycling does. You're going to run a recycling plant? Well, you can run a trash plant too in this game. I was very eager to try this one out. I saw the pictures of it before Essen. It looked good. I don't mind the whole, hey, let's remove waste theme. That's not a bad theme. It's kind of an uplifting one. Hey, let's recycle. Although with this, hang on, we'll get to that in a second. This game is a kind of a Euro-style game and has some neat mechanisms. Let's take a look at them. The object of this game is to have the most victory points, and fortunately, down here at the bottom, it tells you exactly how to get victory points. At the end of the game, you're going to get points for different recycling plants you build in these areas. You're also going to get victory points for money left over at the end of the game. Every $5 is worth a point. You get a point for building the incinerators. Up here is where the incinerators are built. You get points if you get rid of dangerous, hazardous garbage. And then if you have plants built in the 5 different types, you'll get 10 points, 4, 3. And then if you have leftover garbage that you weren't able to recycle, you will lose points. Now each player has different plants that they can get going here. Bio, paper, plastic, glass, and aluminum. Each of these has a different cost, and you can see that they go up. That's because aluminum is very rare. You're going to be going through a pile of trash here. And in this trash are different types of, different kinds of types of trash. You're going to find paper. You'll find just plain old garbage. These symbols at the bottom don't really mean anything. They just show you that it can be recycled. Or for example, this piece of garbage can't be recycled. It shows how it's recycled and things. Sometimes you'll run across garbage here that's dangerous and needs to be gotten rid of. Getting rid of this trash is worth a victory point. They have different values on them. Sometimes the same type will have the same kind of value. There's a special golden trash here. This is mostly aluminum, although there's plastic and glass in it too, and you'll see aluminum is more valuable than anything else. There is a different distribution for each of the colors. You can see the distribution in the top here. This is just for people's reference. So you can see aluminums are 8s and 10s, while if we go to bio, there are 1s, 2s, a couple 3s. Paper is 2 across the board, plastic is 1, 2, 3s, 4s, and 6s, and glasses are 4s, 5s, and 7s. So what are players doing to get this trash, to recycle it? Well, at the beginning of each player's turn, they're going to be drawing cards, and they're going to decide which card they're going to keep from the cards that they draw. The cards that they don't keep are going to be going over here in the first pile of trash. The card that they keep, they're going to be able to put it on one of their plants once they got that plant going. They don't, for example, my bio plant's not going, but once I have this here, this means I can keep 1 card in my bio plant. If I have another one here, I would be able to keep 2 cards in the plant. Later on, at the end of each turn, I'll be able to sell these cards from the bio plant, and I'm going to get, for example, 2 for this one, and if I had another one, I would be able to sell that one. If I put this here, I would sell it for 4 rather than 2, and then I can triple it and sell it for 3. You can even quadruple it, but if I wanted to put that into space, I'd have to put 1 less that I could sell. So this quadruples it, but maybe I would only want to double it, and then I could put 3 of these here, which means I can only double it, but I could store and sell up to 3 of them. So players are going to keep one of these at the beginning of the turn, and that's going to make a pile that is placed over here, and this pile is going to have one of the golden trash added to it, and it's all going to be mixed up. This is called the littering phase. After this happens, there's going to be a certain number of cards in this pile. There's going to be 12 cards that are there. Then players are going to invest. Each player is going to be able to buy 1 limited resource and 1 unlimited resource. Basically, this is the kind of actions you can take. You can take 1 main action, which means you can build in one of these rows. I can build a plant in one of these rows. So let's say I want to build a plant there. There's a cost for building that plant. You'll see the cost here is 5 to put one there. But the first person to unlock this area, it costs another 3, so it would cost 8 to go there if I was the first person. After I go there, someone else can go there and pay 5. So putting the first one in a row is considered a main action. You can put a second one in a row, and that will cost money too, in this case 5 more. And that's a secondary action. You can take as many of those as you want, an unlimited action. You can also build an incineration plant. That's here. You simply decide which one of these you want to buy, you pay that much money, and you have an incineration plant. And then finally, the other unlimited thing you can do is you can buy one of these. So I might want to open up my aluminum. So I buy that, and I go over here to my aluminum plant, and it's now open. I can store aluminum cards in it. The unlimited actions are spending and paying for these. The cost to put these in is listed on each of the cards. Aluminum's cost 15, glass costs 8, etc. When you build these, if you happen to have that sort of trash in your hand, let's say I build paper and I have a paper in my hand, then I'm able to put that paper in here because now I have somewhere to store it. If you have nowhere to store it, you have a hand limit of 2 cards. If you have nowhere else to store it, then you have to trash cards. And you're not going to want to trash cards because at the end of the game, you're going to lose points. So you don't want to get stuck that you can't keep or recycle in your hand. Now, after everyone has done spending their actions on the board, that they bought recycling plants, incineration plants, and opened up the different kinds of plants that they have, then players are going to actually recycle. What's going to happen is, we're going to start with this row here, and the first person who's in this row, so let's say this person here is first, is going to draw the number of cards. So if they have 1 here, they would draw 2 cards. If they have both, they would draw 4. So they would shuffle this pile of cards. They would draw 4 from that pile, and they would take a look at those 4 cards that are there, and they would decide which of these cards. You can keep as many as they want. Ooh, I got the aluminum card, but okay, I only have so many spots in my hand. Maybe I've opened my aluminum factory, I can put it out. I definitely don't want garbage. And do I want the plastic and bio? You can take as many or none of them. Then you put them in and you shuffle them, and then the next person, if there is anyone, gets to draw that many cards. At the bottom, you can see they draw the most cards. If someone had 2 here, they would draw 7 cards. Once this one's done, we go over here, and again, you go down in turn order and look through this pile. They go down in turn order and look through this pile. Then if there's any cards here, those cards are trashed, and that will give money to the incinerator plants. Each incinerator plant can trash 2 of the cards. However, if there's less than 2 cards, you don't get to trash them. And so let's say there's 5 cards in a pile. Then the red incinerator would trash 2 of them. The yellow incinerator would trash 2. There would only be 1 left. The green incinerator would not get to trash any. And the amount of money that they give for incineration is going to start at $2 for each card. However, once these sectors are unlocked here, it goes up to $5 and then up to $10 each. It can be very useful. However, there's going to be fewer cards because once everyone's done incinerating, the cards in this stack move here, the cards in this stack here, the cards in this stack move here. So as time goes by, the more plants that people pulling from here and here and here, eventually when you get to the end, you're going to have very few cards left in the pile to incinerate. And that's basically how a round goes. You then start another round, do the same thing. There's a certain number of rounds in the game, and when the game is over, you're going to score points just like I showed you. The way you keep track of how many rounds is the golden waste cards here. When those are gone, basically you count up points, and money, turn money into points, and so on. Whoever has most points wins. Now, Stinky Business is a fascinating game because when I explain the game to you and we take a look at it, it looks really good. I like the different things, to build the recycling plants, to build the incinerators. There's some pretty solid mechanisms here to draw cards and find the cards that you need. So some excellent things like the incinerators. Those are ways to get money over the course of the game. So you're going to put incinerators out, but at the same time, at the beginning of the game, these might give you more money, but at the same time, as the game goes by, fewer and fewer cards are going to come to the incinerators. So you can buy a cheap incinerator and it gets you some money at the beginning of the game, but once the game gets going and people buy the more expensive incinerators, those little incinerators are going to get nothing. They'll get you a point at the end of the game. Same thing with the recycling plants. You really want a recycling plant in that first row, but it costs $5 to unlock it and $12 to put it out. That's $17. That's a lot of money to spend. This horrible paper money, stop putting it in games. Okay, but that's cool. So it's a really neat idea. The trash comes in, the first recycling plants are sorting through it. Ooh, this is good, this is good. It comes, the next recycling plants sort through it, the next ones. And as time goes by, more and more recycling plants are there, so the recycling plants in the last row aren't getting as much as they used to, and so on and so forth. However, there are two major flaws with this. The first of all is that when players are drawing cards and going through them and deciding which ones to keep, then putting them back and shuffling it, giving it to the next player, and they do it, that's okay for the first couple turns in this game. By the time you get to the 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th turn, there's up to, 4 plus 5, 9 plus 15. 15 times that cards will be drawn and shuffled through. That's incredibly tedious. Everyone has to sit there and wait. And we tried to do it, so we'd say, okay, you and you go simultaneously. Okay, did you go in this row yet? Okay, what's going on? And that just became confusing. It has to really be done in order, and it's long. And 10 rounds for this game is entirely too long, because by the time you get to the 10th round, everyone has built pretty much everything that they want to build, and it's kind of like, just when is this game going to end? Should have been cut down to 8 rounds, and they should find some way to go through those cards, because that really has a major impact on the game. That's one of my problems. The other problem is that at the end of the game, luck of the draw can win it for somebody. These aluminum cards are great. They can sell for a lot of money. Money is $5 a point. So at the end of the game, if you get a $10 aluminum card and you sell it, that is 2 points you've gotten. And in this game, 2 points can be a victory. So when you're going through those piles at the end, the person who happens to draw the aluminum card is going to do really well. Sure, your chances are better at the beginning, but this almost reminds me sometimes of Killer Bunnies. That's that old game where whoever got the right carrot won. And somebody would be like, wait a minute, you worked the whole game and you got 1 carrot, I got 6 carrots, and your carrot's the one that won. And I was able to give Killer Bunnies a pass in that because it was like a guilty pleasure and it was a fast game. This game is not fast. It's not long, okay? We're talking 90 minutes to 2 hours. But when you work that hard the whole game and I'm kind of neck and neck with somebody and they win simply because they drew better cards than me, I think that's a little frustrating. The game is fascinating. There's some really cool things. You want to open the paper plant first or the aluminum plant. The money is tight. I don't have a problem with the game overall. The theme works well, but that very fiddly searching through the recycling thing takes too long. Plus, the game itself is a few rounds too long. And then a few lucky cards at a draw can seriously win the game for somebody, which kind of renders the rest of the game a bit of a moot point. So for those reasons, I cannot recommend this game. I want to. I like much of it, but it just needed a little bit more work. That's stinky business. Dice Tower Judgment, good ideas, but too long and too random.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.
Cierra la puerta.
¿Qué?